Zoax.net. Lesson 38. Pictures. With the wide variety of devices that are used to view web pages, one of the common issues that developers face is how to develop a web page that looks good on both a small phone screen and a much larger computer screen, as well as everything in between. Pictures help solve this problem. A picture is an element that contains references to multiple images. Depending on the conditions, one of those images will be selected to be displayed by the browser. In our first example, we have a picture element that contains both a source element and an image element. The image in the source element is a larger version of the image in the image element. The two images are different sizes of the enunciation, and they look like this. The smaller image is the one in the image element, and the larger one is the one in the source element. Going back to the code, we see that the source element has a media attribute. The value of the attribute is the min width 350 pixels. This means that the source image is only displayed when the width of the page that it is contained in is at least 350 pixels. When the width is less than 350 pixels, the image in the image element is displayed instead. The image element provides the default that is displayed when nothing else is. To illustrate how this works, we have a second HTML file with two iframe elements in it. Each of these iframes uses the previous HTML file as its source. The first iframe has its width set at 200 pixels, and the second one is set to 400 pixels. So when the page is opened, a different image will be displayed in each frame, even though they both display the same HTML page. Opening this document, we see these two images displayed in two iframes. The first, narrower iframe, uses the smaller image from the image element because it is only 200 pixels wide, less than the 350 pixels threshold for the source element. The second iframe uses the larger image in the source element because it is 400 pixels wide, larger than the 350 pixels threshold. In our second example, we use 3 source elements and 4 images in the picture element. The images are 4 different sizes of the image of the finding of Jesus in the temple teaching the elders. The first is shown if the page is 1000 pixels wide or more. The next is for 800 pixels wide or more. The third is for 400 pixels wide or more. Each condition is less restrictive than the previous ones. The source conditions should always be listed from the most restrictive to the least restrictive, because the first condition that is satisfied will be used. In this way, we use the first image if the page is 1000 pixels or more wide. The second is used if it is between 800 and 1000. The third is used if it is between 400 and 800. Finally, the fourth is used if it is less than 400 pixels wide. To illustrate this, we use a resizable iframe that we can drag to resize as shown here. Opening this iframe document that loads the example 2 HTML page, we see the image of Jesus in the temple. When we resize the iframe by dragging the corner, we see the image change between the 4 sizes. Using a resizable iframe like this is convenient, and we will use it for the remaining examples. In our third example, we demonstrate that it is not necessary to use a picture if we just want a resizable image that changes according to the page size. In this example, we use our largest image of the finding of Jesus in the temple, and we simply set the width to 100%. Of course, we could use 60% or something smaller if we did not want the image to stretch across the whole page. In any event, the point of this example is to show that we can make a resizable image without the picture element. Here we use the same iframe that we used before to create a resizable iframe. Opening this document, we see that our image stretches across the entire page. When we drag the corner to resize it, the image scales perfectly without any picture element whatsoever. So the picture element is not really necessary to achieve a resized image. However, picture elements are capable of much more. In this example, we use the picture element to select an image based on the aspect ratio of the page. Without getting into the details, the aspect ratio basically tells us how thin or wide the page is. In this example, we use a thin image of the Divine Mercy when the aspect ratio is small. Below this, we use a wide image of the Last Supper when the aspect ratio is large. The third image is used for the middle range of aspect ratios between 2/3 and 5/3. It is an image of the Sermon on the Mount, and it is closer to a square image for the middle range of values. Again, we use the resizable iframe shown here to display this example. Opening the document, we see the Sermon on the Mount image. However, when we drag the corner and change the aspect ratio, we see the image change as the aspect ratio does. This demonstrates some of the versatility of the picture element. It can also be used to adapt to a number of different other changes based on the device. The width and aspect ratio are just easier ones to demonstrate. As always, these code samples are available on our website on the lesson page for this video.